Hey everybody, Sean Holsinger here from holsingersflyshop. Bringing another video this week. It's a fishing video, and it's from my recent trip over to South Africa fishing with Dabala safaris and anglers and antelopes, and from wild fly fishing the Karoo with Alan Hobson. He's a great guide. I had a great time, and if you're interested, I'm going to be running a trip. Please reach out to me if you'd be interested in going over to South Africa on a fly fishing or cast and blast trip, which my next video will be about doing a cast and blast. But this is one of the options if you go on a fly fishing trip. You can go for yellowfish. Yellowfish is their native fish, really cool, very hard fighting fish. And you can catch some other fish too, like the mudfish you're going to see in here. Also, I'm going to add a fly tying video in this one. One of the flies that Alan, my guide over there, showed me, which was a rubber biot Prince Nymph, and it worked really well, and it's a lot more durable. So I really liked it, and I figured I'd share it with you. So if you just want to see the tying part, fast forward on to the end. But if you want to watch the fishing, just stick around, watch some of the nice fish that I caught over there, and see some of the scenery and stuff too. So enjoy. I hope you really like it. And I'll talk a little bit more about the trip at the end of the video. Hey everybody, Sean Holsinger here from Holsinger's Fly Shop. I'm here in the Karoo today in the eastern Cape of South Africa, taking in this beautiful scenery all around me with my friend here, Alan Hobson, from wild fly fishing in the Karoo. And we're going to do a little bit of yellow fishing today on the river here. And how about tell us a little bit where we're at and what we're doing?
So we're in the Eastern Cape in the Craddock Somerset East area, and we're fishing the Great Fish River at the moment, but that water is actually travels a good few hundred kilometers from the source, which is the Orange River. It comes out of the snow melt in the Lesotho Mountains, and the Orange River basically cuts through the whole of South Africa and flows into the sea, Atlantic Sea, and borders onto Namibia. Nice. So these yellowfish have moved all the way down.
Wow.
And the water's a little bit off color, but that shouldn't put you off at all. We've got yellowfish, smallmouth yellowfish, we've got carp, we've got barbel, we've got bass. We've got bass who are sort of unusual, but they do escape from farm dams. You might pick up a bass. And we've got mochel and mudfish. The beauty about this is we call this a freshwater bonefish.
Yes.
It's our indigenous species, and way back it's actually a cousin of the great mashare that you find in the Himalayas in India. Okay. Because we had the continent was one Gondwana land, and these are subspecies. So it's exciting. We've got an exciting day ahead. Hopefully we'll catch something.
To put it in perspective for the American guys, it's kind of like our sucker with a white fish head on it. It's a really cool fish. Tons of muscle to it. I caught one already on this trip. It was small, but it fought just as big as some of the bigger fish we've caught. So I really enjoy fishing for them, and hopefully we can get some back here. Alright guys. Man, that's just all muscle there. We got him on a streamer. You're an infant in this riffle here. Great fish. I'm going to put him back in the net while Alan explains a little bit about what he is.
Sean, that is actually something very special, because everybody says you only foul hook these. This is the Orange River mudfish. Its mouth is sort of underneath his nose, and in Afrikaans they say onderbekkie, in other words underneath mouth. And there's this whole thing that you've only foul hooked them. You hooked it solid square in the lips, and that is really well done. And it's sort of the shape and the fins and everything is what you can look forward to with the yellowfish.
Yeah.
So this is sort of regarded as a prehistoric yellowfish. I'm not sure about that development,
right.
But just because of this, the dynamic, the sort of aerodynamics of the fish and the fins.
Right.
But man, it gave you a fight.
It's built. I'll tell you what. For back home, it fights like a carp. It's built like a carp.
Yep.
And you guys have carp over here too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I mean, just muscle to them, just shoulders, and then you get them in current like this, they fight like crazy. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He popped the hook here, so let's get him back in.
Hold him up and then we can do the release, yes?
Yeah. All right, let's get this guy back in the water and hopefully he can fight another day.
We noticed the color was quite opaque.
Yeah.
And the color changes to adapt to the water color.
He very much matches this water.
So you'll find the yellowfish here also a lot more silver than yellow.
Yeah.
So Sean's just busy retying, and it's something that everybody should do. Catch a fish, just retie the knot, cut the fly off and retie it, because then if you hook that fish of a lifetime, you've got a better chance of landing it. So those extra 2 minutes is worth everything. So we've specifically chosen this area here because we've got a back eddy. So what you typically want to look for is fast water with slower water. The fish basically lie in the slower water, especially if you've got a little back eddy, because it's bringing the food, especially in this sort of discolored water, it's actually bringing the food to them. They don't have to work for it, because don't forget, if you're in that fast current, you're going to burn a lot of energy to eat a little insect. So it's much easier to lie here, and it's like they're almost in the queue of a KFC takeaway, waiting for the stuff to be brought to them instead of going through that drive-through.
Also, retying your line gives me a chance to catch my breath after fighting a nice fish like that. That fly has caught.
I'm chuffed for you because you know, it's always nice to catch a fish on your own fly, especially one you've developed, and that's really good. You know, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, but I mean, Sean, there's no difference, because what we're doing is, in our fly pattern, we're creating triggers.
Oh, yeah.
And the thinking is the same.
Yeah, and you said yeah, I know what I'm mean. And for me back home, yes. Muddy water.
And therein lies the secret. 90% of your fly fishing is confidence in the fly that you are using. So a lot of people will come to the water and they'll open their fly box and go, that's the one that worked for me, and that's what they put on, and it's not necessarily matching what's actually going on in the water, which is interesting, because you asked me, are there leeches? And I said yes, and you wanted to go to your go-to leech, and that's what was successful. Fish eagle.
No, he's sitting here because he's catching fish.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. No. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. Just stand still. Where's the cross to show off? That's where we're going. It is. Right, just we'll go there so you can film me.
Alright guys, I got my yellow. There he is on my little black leech pattern. Works really well, and I'm really excited. I've been fishing for this fish all day long here today. It's a great fish, great specimen. Get back in the net here, let it breathe. Tell us a little bit about the yellowfish, Alan. Why it's special to you guys.
Well, it's our indigenous fish.
Yeah.
So, native South African fish. And if you look at the size of that tail, those fins, and you look at this really harsh environment, because it's hardcore.
Yes.
These guys are survivors, and that's what makes them so special to catch.
And we're fishing in chocolate milk, what I would call chocolate milk back home.
Absolutely.
And this is day to day here.
And that's absolutely, and that's the psychological barrier that most fishermen battle to come to terms with. And as I explained to them, while it's dirty, it's basically soil particles in the water, so there is visibility.
Yeah.
And I mean, as you can see, that thing smashed you.
Yeah.
And they take them, and the most amazing thing is, you'll pick them up on size 16 little nymphs here in this dirty water, so you don't fish it any differently in practical terms, but psychologically it plays with your mind.
This is just a regular old bugger pattern, black bugger pattern. I like to fish black in muddy water, so that was my thought. I wanted to tie on a black one. We caught fish right away on it earlier.
Yep.
And came here and first cast at this hole, so this is a cool fish, and it's cool to fish and catch your native fish. That's the cool thing. And they're so strong. That's what you guys don't get. Like, they're as strong or stronger than trout. They're fun to catch. So I'm gonna put him back and see if I can't get another one here. Got another yellow here. Great little fish here. We got, oh, probably 13 to 15 inch, somewhere in that range. Great fish. And we were talking here while we caught, I missed 2 fish right before catching this one. Wasn't paying attention, we were talking, and ended up caught this fish anyway. Really cool. But what we were talking about earlier, this fish here, you say, is just coming into breeding age.
Yeah.
And 7 years to get to that size. So that's pretty cool. The fish we were catching the other day, the trout and stuff, grow fast. These are long-lived fish, and it takes a long time for them to spawn. So to catch a fish like this is actually quite a trophy, even at 15 inches. They get a lot bigger,
Yeah.
but still, that took 7 years of dodging everything in this stream and the fishermen and everything else. So really great looking fish. I'm going to get another picture of it here, and then we'll get it back in the water. Okay guys, unfortunately I caught 2 or 3 more out of this hole. It was a really good hole for me, but my camera card ran out of space and we couldn't get any more on camera. The first one that I caught on the first cast was on a black leech pattern that I caught the mudfish on, and I fish that one around here a lot. But the other ones, all the other fish came on a nymph pattern that Alan gave me, and it was just a Prince Nymph pattern, and it worked really, really well. However, it used rubber flex floss for the biots instead of using biots. More durable and a lot more movement. So here I'm going to show you how I tied that pattern that Alan showed me over there. So I hope you like this, and check it out. Okay, here you see the rubber biot prints in the vise. Really simple. Let's get into tying it. For a hook, I'm using Holsinger's FlyShop Nymph hook. This is a size 12. Tie 12s, 14s, 16s even. And for a bead, on this 12, this is a 2.8 black nickel bead. And I'm just going to put some .020 lead wire on here. I'm going to put about 4 or 5 wraps on, that's all. And get that tag turned down there. And then push that in up underneath the bead. And just fighting to get my tag turned in there. There we go. So, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put on some Semperfli Nano Silk. I like the thin thread here. Use some 70 denier black, whatever you have. I just like using the Nano Silk because it's tough. And wrap that bead into place there, lock it into place. Next thing we're going to put on is the tail on this fly. Now, typically on a Prince Nymph you use a biot and brown for the tail, but we're going to use some brown flex floss here. Just going to give it a little bit more action and a lot more durability compared to those biots. So we're just going to tie that on, wrap it back to the bend of the hook, and then I'm going to double it over. I just cut, whenever I'm doing these, I'm tying like a dozen or so. I just cut a dozen pieces about 2 inches long. And there you go, there I have my tail sticking out the back. Next thing is a piece of copper wire. This is brassy copper. We're just going to put this on here for a rib. It's going to protect our peacock herl that we put on next. And again, wrap that back to the bend, but I'm going to start that, as you saw there, right behind that lead wire so I don't build up on top of the lead wire. I want to keep it thin. And again, I'm going to start at the exact same place, and I'm going to wrap 2 strands of peacock herl in here. Wrap it right in there behind that lead, and then wrap it back to the tail. Now, you can take and wrap your peacock herl around your thread. That will strengthen it up a lot more. But I just wrap it forward and then secure it with my copper wire. It's good enough that way. So just make nice side-by-side wraps with these 2 pieces. Wrap it the whole way up there. Just a hair behind the bead. Don't want to crowd the bead too much. And tie it off. Then we're going to counter wrap. Let's go the opposite way you wrap the peacock herl and wrap this copper wire. Or gold, whichever one you have there. and tie that off. All right, once you get that tied off, just give her a couple twists and it'll pop off. Now, again, normal pattern, you put some white biots on top for the wings here. We're going to use some white flex floss. And you can also use like yellow flex floss, something to give a little bit of attention up there. You know, just a trigger point. But the biots will work a lot better, be a lot more durable, and give you a lot more movement too. So just tweak them around, get them where you want them there. And then I'm going to come in with a hen hackle here. This is a grizzly hen hackle. Standard pattern calls for brown. I have a grizzly that's handy, so I just used it. Fish aren't going to tell the difference. They're not going to care. Use what you have, and it'll catch your fish. So tie that in right there behind that bead. I use my hackle pliers and make about 2 wraps on here. Oops. It's fine if it pops off. Just stick it back on and do it again. And you can pull those fibers back with each wrap. And again, about 2 wraps and then tie it off. Last thing we're going to do is put a little collar on here. You can pull those fibers back and wrap them back towards those biots a little bit. Last thing we're going to put on is just a little bit of dubbing. This is Fooling Mills Tactical Micro Flash Dub in Peacock. And I do not need much. I just want a little bit. I want about a 1.5 inch long noodle of dubbing on here. That's it, and thin too. Just building a little collar, enough to lay those fibers back and clean it up there behind the head, behind that bead. So there's all we're going to need to put on the fly. We're just going to whip finish it off and then cut our biots to length and we're done. For the biots, what I want to do with them is I'm going to take the white ones and I'm going to cut them right to the back of the fly. And then the brown tail, I want them to be about the same length as the white ones. There you have it. And there your fly is done. Very easy fly that catches fish and is very durable. Okay guys, I hope you liked this video as much as I did making it. It was a lot of fun going over there. Like I said, I love South Africa. If you're interested in joining me and going on a trip over to South Africa, I'm going to be going in the spring of 2026. Going to put together a group. It'll save you a little bit of money going in a group. And you're going to experience fly fishing at its best in South Africa. All it has to offer, from the trout, the yellowfish, the mudfish, different things. We can go for catfish. There's lots of options to go fishing. Surf fishing for sharks even. I love South Africa and all it has to offer. Around the next bend, you never know what's going to be there. It's just so cool. It's going to be an affordable trip. Please reach out to me for any information if you would be interested in it. Like I said, I fell in love with it. I do have to warn you, you can't go just once to South Africa. Once it gets in your blood, you spend your whole life dreaming of getting there, and when you get there, you spend your whole time dreaming of how you're going to get back. Just the way it goes with South Africa. So, guys, if you're interested, please email me at holsingersflyshop@gmail.com. Hope you liked this video. Hope you liked the tying part. Like I said, if you need any of the material, as always, reach out to us at holsingersflyshop.com. And please, please, think about going to Africa with me. You'll have a great time, and we'll get to see a lot of different things over there. So, until next week when I bring you another video, I'm Sean Holsinger.